What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPapa, and
family!
And we just wanted to take a second to say Merry Christmas to all of you out there. This is Christmas Eve. We're excited to bring you this content. I'm going to share with you my ultimate Christmas list. But before that, this is the season of giving thanks and being appreciative for all that we have. And everybody on this channel, my family included, are a big part of making the PikaPikaPapa channel happen. So we just wanted to say thank you. Can you all say thank you?
Thank you!
We appreciate you. And no matter what you're celebrating this holiday season, we hope you have an absolute awesome time. All right, girls and mama, you ready to get out of here?
Yeah.
Bye. All right, get out of here. So that's my bunch of Pokemon collecting maniacs right there, everybody. And if you don't know, early in this channel, we used to do a lot of content as a family. We would do a lot of PSA blind reveals. We do a lot of openings and stuff. And the channel's just taken a little bit of a different turn since then, which is nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to get a moment and get them in front of you and let you know that we're super appreciative of you watching this channel and being a part of our journey. And just share my family because I absolutely love them. So with that out of the way, let's start talking about what's on my ultimate Christmas list. And before we get into this, I got to give you a little context. So every single thing that is about to be seen, I don't own any of them. They have been things that I have had in my personal collecting journey that I've wanted to add to the collection for a long time. And I've just never gotten around to pulling the trigger. And I don't always look at the prices for them, again, because this is more a PC type thing versus an investing thing. So when I was pulling them together for this video, I knew exactly what I wanted to have on it, but I also hadn't looked at the price graphs for a while. And what's really cool is, as you see, most of these have actually had a really, really strong 2024, which makes me kick myself in the rear a little bit for not adding them to the personal collection a little bit earlier. So with that being said, let's look at what's on PikaPikaPapa's Christmas list for 2024. So the very first thing, and one of the items that I have coveted the most ever since I got into this hobby, and I don't necessarily know exactly why, but it's this Pikachu EX box, the red and blue collection. This is obviously from Generations, and I love everything about this. I love the colors on it. I love the fact that there's a Charizard, there's an Ivysaur, there's a Bulbasaur, right? There's a Blastoise, right? There's 4 different variants of this, and I really enjoy the fact that they're super collectible. Now, if you look from a pricing perspective, it hasn't gained a whole lot of value over the last year, although it's up 15%, which in any other space besides the Pokemon world would be an absolute phenomenal one-year return, but we're so absolutely spoiled here. But the thing I like about it is it's just got all of the colors going for it, and that promo card, I'm telling you right now, that promo card is absolutely fire. It is incredibly hard to get in high PSA grades. I think PSA 8s of this sell for over $100. So I don't know why. It's just something that I've always wanted. I've never pulled the trigger on. I have had it in my hands at multiple collecticons, but for whatever reason, maybe the seller was trying to sell all 4 of them as a set, or maybe they wanted a little bit more than I was willing to spend. Actually, there was one that had the right price, but there was a rip in the box, so I didn't want that. It just, the stars and moons haven't aligned, and I haven't been able to add this to the personal collection. But this is something that I would really like to have, and it is absolutely on my Christmas list for what might come tomorrow. Now, the next thing that's on this list is not a sealed product, but it is actually this Team Aqua's Kyogre from the XY era, and I don't know what it is about this card. I don't know why I'm so attracted to it. I don't know why I love it. But this is a card I have always wanted, again, since my early days of getting into the hobby. And amazingly, it is up 100% over the last year. Now, I do remember this card was on one of our movers and shakers, or one of the top 10 Pokemon cards at some point over the course of 2024. So it wasn't just me. It was really cool to see that card. And I remember going through this whole iteration when the card was featured in one of those videos talking about how much I love it, how much I've always wanted it. And I just have never pulled the trigger. But it just goes to show you that awesome artwork, even if it doesn't have, I always talk about, you want great cards with great Pokemon on it, and even though this doesn't have probably the biggest name Pokemon in the collecting and investing space on it, obviously, that has not deterred it from going up over 100% over the last year. The artwork is awesome, and it is obviously a fan favorite. This is the Team Aqua. There's also a Team Magma card, but this is the one that I prefer. And also, my youngest, her favorite color is blue, so you got blue in there as well. So that's another one that's on this list. And I don't know, maybe this will be the year I pull the trigger. It's getting near $200. That's a ton of money for a single card, but we'll just have to wait and see. The next thing that's on this list is this Gengar EX box, and this one really has me kicking myself in the shins because I can't tell you how many times I've had this box in my hand at a Collecticon when somebody wanted maybe $110 for it, right? This was talking about the Orlando Collecticon that was earlier this year, and I just didn't pull the trigger, and I don't know why I couldn't validate it. It's probably because I am actually a very tightwad when it comes to spending money. So whenever I think about spending $100 on a box like this, I always think about what else I could spend that $100 on. So, you know, I always decided to spend my money on something else, but look at the returns over the last year. I mean, this Gengar EX box, it's up almost 54% over the last year. You know that Gengar is my favorite Pokemon. Absolutely love it. You got XY Evolutions in here. You got Primal Clash in here. You got Fates Collide in here. You got a Sun and Moon booster pack in here. Plus, you got a Jumbo Foil Gengar in there. Plus, you got that Gengar Black Star promo on there. I mean, this checks every single box you could possibly want, and I just think it's really cool. Don't be surprised. This might be one where I actually break out and I buy it for, you know, an inflated price versus where I had it from before. You can't live in the past, right? Just because you didn't pull the trigger at a certain price point in the past, you cannot live in that moment. You cannot keep that. You got to be, I don't know, you just got to have a short memory when it comes to this. If you really want the product and you think it's at a fair price, then you got to go ahead and pull the trigger. So this might be one of the ones that I pulled the trigger on, even though it's almost at $175, and just have it in the personal collection. That's the beautiful thing about separating your investment side from the personal collection side. You can have personal collection items where you care less about the overall price appreciation and you just want them because you just want it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the beauty of this hobby. So this card might be in the personal collection sooner rather than later. The next one that's on this list, okay, this is the Gengar and the Mimikyu card, and this is from Team Up, and everything Team Up has been doing really well. This is obviously, you know, one of the top chase cards behind the Lovebirds in that entire set. But the reason I like this card is unique. So I shared with you earlier, Gengar is my favorite Pokemon. Well, my beautiful wife, who you just saw in the beginning of this video, she is in love with Mimikyu. So I love the fact that you have one of her favorite Pokemons and my favorite Pokemon on the exact same card. I love the fact that it's from the Team Up era. I love the fact that it's got a very dark tilt to it. I love the fact that it's a tag team card. Like, there's absolutely everything in the world to love about this card. Now, the only thing I don't love, unfortunately, is a near $400 price point, because that is just a ton of money to spend on a singles card. I'm such a tightwad, I know. But if I want something like this in the personal collection, I'm going to have to go ahead and bite the bullet at some point and get it. And no, there's no more noble reason to get this than the fact that it reminds me of my wife, and it's got my favorite Pokemon on it as well. So it's not in the collection yet, but I have a feeling at some point I'll just bite the bullet and add this to the personal collection. Super cool card. Love everything about it. And I do think that this is one of the ones that has the opportunity for some really strong price appreciation. If you look at it over the last month, it's seen some very big jumps. It jumped from about $320 all the way up to $388 really over the last 60 days. So everything's getting hot. Team Up's getting hot. So listen, again, as I said, can't live in the past, but this is a cool card at a really, really high price point right now. And then this one as well. Okay, so this one right here is an interesting one. So this is not something you would typically see on the list for me, but for whatever reason, like I said, I really want some exposure to Team Up, and these tins right here, there's 3 different varieties of it. This is the Zekrom and Pikachu one. It is something that I've always wanted, and I don't really understand why. This is not a typical product that I would have in my collection, but I have always wanted this tin. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, and one of the reasons why I've been hesitant to pull the trigger on it is because the tins are like outside of my sphere of expertise, and it's okay to say that. Nobody's an expert on everything, but the tins always confuse me. Like, how do I know I'm getting the packs that are supposed to be in there? They reprint tins over and over again, and some have this set of packs, and the other have this set of packs, and you have to check the serial number or the date that it was printed. It's just too much for me, right? Like, I really wish that the Pokemon Company would just produce one set of tins that has one set of packs in it. I think that would make it a lot easier on the collecting hobby, because I know there are people out there who at times pay a premium for a tin which might not contain the premium products that they were hoping for. So this is just on me. You know, the price is up about 40% over the last year. Again, for all the reasons that I said. Love the fact that it's got Pikachu on it. I would obviously want the one with the tag team cards in there. And at $129, you know, that's a pretty high price point, but it is relatively approachable. So who knows? Maybe you'll see one of those hanging out in the background before the end of 2025. And the final thing that's on the list, okay, and this is the Charizard from Delta Species, Crystal Guardians. Absolutely love this card. And you know what I really like about these cards is the reverse holos that have the set stamp on the front. Okay, I think that is a really cool, unique dynamic that they had back in the ages, back in the earlier times of Pokemon. Now, it's kind of hard to say back in the early days, right, because Pokemon as a whole isn't that old, but I do think that these set names stamped on these reverse holo cards are going to hold value in the long run. Now, this one in a PSA 9 holder is going to set you back about $1,000, and this is why this is the ultimate ultimate Christmas wish list, right? These are cards that, you know, I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford, but I do think that they are things that I can absolutely dream of, and who knows, maybe someday I'll strike it big, you know, I'll be able to pick up cards like this. But on the graph on the left, you can see the non-reverse holo and the way that price has gone over the course of the year. You see a lot of time where it was flat and then it kind of bumped up there. But still, it's a $300 card right there. And then the reverse holos command a little bit more of a premium. And you know, it's interesting because I do believe that in the long run, some of these older cards in high grade, especially your Charizards, your Pikachus, your Gengars, right? Like, I think they are going to have the opportunity for a very long stretch of time, right? I'm talking about over the next 15, 20, 25 years. I do think that they're going to have some of the biggest price appreciations. I don't think it's going to happen, you know, slowly and gradually. I think we're going to have these kind of cataclysmic moments, right, where the prices spike for whatever reason. There's going to be some macroeconomic thing that happens and we see the prices spike, and then they'll hold on to some of those gains. They won't stay at the all-time highs. They'll drop down and then they'll hold on to some of those gains. And, you know, a couple of those things over the course of time is going to allow these cards to go up in value. And I say that because that's what I've seen in the card space, right? You all know that I'm a card collector too, a sports card collector, and I've been doing that for 22 years, and that's what I've seen the pattern in that space. And so it'll be interesting to see, but this is on the list. I would absolutely love to have this card. I think everybody would. I'm not saying anything that you wouldn't, but this is on the ultimate Christmas list for PikaPikaPapa, and who knows what 2025 will bring. Hopefully it'll bring lots of prosperity and joy, not just to me, but also to you and your loved ones and everybody who's watching this out there. I totally mean what I said in the beginning of this video. This channel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for your support, and I can't possibly thank you enough. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. I hope you have a fantastic holiday season, and I'm really excited, and I hope I can bring you some great content for the rest of this year and into 2025. Thank you so much for everything, and have a great day. Thanks, everybody. Bye.